Now, the next topic that we will discuss is on 80386 addressing modes. After talking about uh, the basic concepts of programmer's model, the features, programmer's model, and the architecture diagram, we discussed about the operating modes, and after operating modes it is necessary to understand the different addressing modes. Now there is an interesting point. Before we actually write the programs, it is very necessary to understand the operating modes. In operating modes, basically we understand, or we get to know that how to access the data or the operand, right? Data oblique operand. So this data is basically available at different locations in our system. So what all different options we have to access the data, right? So it basically indicates the way by which we can access or locate those data, right? Describe the type of operands and the way they are accessed for executing an instruction, right? So how we can access those operands, right? So that is indicated. The method by which address of source data and address of destination of result is given in the instruction is called as addressing mode. So these are the different definitions from different resources. Then 80386, it consists of total 11 addressing modes, and those addressing modes are basically register addressing mode, immediate addressing mode, direct addressing mode, register indirect addressing mode, based in addressing mode, index addressing mode, then scaled index addressing mode, then based index addressing mode, based scaled index addressing mode, based index addressing mode with displacement, and the last one is based scaled index addressing mode with displacement, right? So there are several combinations of the same keywords which you can identify here. All right, so one by one we'll discuss, right? The first two are basically register and immediate addressing mode, right? So register addressing mode is very interesting one. In this addressing mode, the data that we want to use for execution of our instruction is available within the inside the register. So that's why we call it as a register addressing mode. So here the operand is available in the register itself. All right, so whatever the operation that we want to carry out. So here you can see the example is given, add EAX comma EBX. So what we are doing, we are performing addition of two numbers, and those two numbers are available in the registers, whatever the general purpose registers which are specified. So here very easily we can relate the name register addressing mode with the example, right? So here all registers we can use except your instruction pointer for this addressing mode, right? All general purpose register very specifically, right? Except IP we can use. So general purpose register which are there. Then immediate addressing mode is another interesting addressing mode. Here the data which we want to use is available within the instruction, right? Data in this case it is a part of our instruction. So immediate data is a part of our instruction. Then how much data is possible? So we can have 8-bit, 16-bit, or 32-bit data which we can use for the operations. But also in immediate addressing mode, you can easily identify the instruction is given. For example, move EAX comma and some value is there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now here in this case, this data we are not going to access from any other location, because this data is available inside the instruction. It is a part of our instruction, right? So whenever we prefetch the instruction, along with in that particular instruction itself, the data will be available. So whenever you write the code with the immediate addressing mode, whatever the value that you will write, it will be stored in the form of machine code, right, in the memory. And whenever your processor fetch that instruction, it fetch that opcode, the register name, and the data itself. So for moving or for processing that data, it need not have to access any other source. So here in this case, the data is available inside or it is a part of your instruction. All right, so that's why we call it as an immediate addressing mode. So these are the basic addressing mode, right? Register addressing mode and the immediate addressing mode. So in the register addressing mode, I told you both operands are available inside the registers, right? So in case of move, if you want to use a move, you can write move EAX comma EDX. Now in 80386 or Intel instructions, whenever we write these instructions in the format, here in 80386 instruction, the first register will be used as a destination or source, right? There are several instructions in which it may be used as a source as well. And the second operand will be the source, right? It will not be the destination. Now here in this case, if you talk about move instruction, move AX comma the number, right? This number is a source, means what? This number is moved to the destination, and which is the destination register, that is EAX. Now with the earlier example in register addressing mode, I told you that add EAX comma EBX was the example. Now here in this case, what operation will be carried out? The operation carried out by this instruction is adding two numbers. First number will be from EAX and second number will be from EBX. That means your EAX is source register, and as well as EBX is also the source register, right? So EAX is source register and EBX is a source register. So both operands will be taken from these both registers, right? These operands will be taken from these both registers, will be added, and now we will be talking about the destination register. Now out of this, as I told you, first register will be the destination register. So ultimately the result will be stored in EAX. Getting this? So first operand will be always used as a destination, and in some examples or in some instruction that will be also used as a source. So this is how the instructions are basically written in 80386. Right. Now, let's go for the next part of our discussion. This is associated, right? The linear address, whatever the linear address that we are talking about, right? Now here, let me tell you about. Okay, this slide I will talk about, right? 32-bit memory addressing modes, right? This is now with the earlier two addressing modes, where we have seen that the operands are available inside the processor itself. Those are not accessed from the external memory. Why? Because in the first addressing mode, I told you register to register. So registers are part of your processor, which are there inside it. Then in immediate addressing mode, the data is a part of your instruction, and instruction is stored in the prefetch buffer, and then later on it is sent to the execution unit. So the data is available inside the microprocessor itself in the first two cases. But whatever the remaining 9 cases are there, in that case the external memory is accessed. So that's why we call it as a 32-bit memory addressing. So remaining 9 types of addressing are basically categorized under the 32-bit memory addressing mode. And to access this memory addressing mode, we use the linear address, and that consists of two components. Whenever we talk about the linear address, this linear address will be consisting of segment base address and the effective address, right? The segment base address and the effective address. So effective address, we alternately refer it as an offset. In the earlier diagram I told you, segment based address point to the starting of segment, that points to the segment in which we want to access the data, and the effective address or the offset will be the exact location within that particular segment, right? It is exactly the indexing, or it will be pointing to the specific operand within that particular segment. Now, how there are different ways by which we can calculate effective address. So to make the addressing, external memory addressing flexible depending on the data structures involved in our programs, right? There are different options which are provided by the 80386 to calculate this effective address. In this, we can have displacement, right? 8 or 16-bit or 32-bit immediate value can be used as a displacement. Here 16-bit is there, some typographical error is there. So here as a displacement, which consisting of either 8-bit or 16-bit or 32-bit immediate value, we can use it as a displacement. Bro, so it is a component of calculating the effective address. Bro, then base is there. Now the content of any general purpose register can be used as a base. Right? Content of any general purpose register can be used as a base. Right? It is generally used by the compilers to point to the start of local variable area. Right? So here many times if we derive or if you have some tables, right, and if you want to point to the starting of that particular table, right, that we call it as a base. So generally base of that table will be stored in this base register, and index will be the another field, right, another pointer, right? So this index will be the another component. The content of any general purpose register, again here we can use any general purpose register except ESP. So ESP register cannot be used as an index. So there is a restriction on using ESP. So base we can use all 8 registers, any of the 8 registers, 8 general purpose registers. So which 8 general purpose registers I told you? EAX, EBX, ECX, EDX, right? Then ESI, EDI, then EBP and ESP. These 8 general purpose registers are there. So these 8 registers can be used as base, but as an index, we can only use 7 registers, right? We cannot use ESP as an index. So while designing the addressing mode, there is a restriction given on the index register, right? So the index registers are used to access the element of an array or a string of characters. So individual element within that particular table or the array, right, or within the string can be accessed. So it is having same structure, right, like your index in array. So array will give you the base, right? Whenever you write high level language, in high level language generally how you access the array element, you write the name of that array. So if your label or the identifier given to your array is ARRAY, then ARRAY will give you the base of that memory block, and whatever the number that you write within the bracket, that gives you the index within that particular memory block. All right. So this is a very interesting one. So in high level language, the same thing is used, but we are not clearly aware about which register is used there and all, because we only use the syntax from high level language, right? But ultimately those are converted into assembly, right? The machine code conversion is happening. Your compilers are converting those high level language into machine level language. Then third component or fourth component is the scale. Very interesting one. Now this scaling happens along with the index register. Right, scaling means what? It is a multiplication factor which we can use along with the index register. Right, the index register's value can be multiplied by a scale factor. Right, either so which value is valid for scale? So that is given 1, 2, 4, or 8. These 4 options we have. All right. Now, why it is required? Right, very interesting question is this. Now I told you, base will point to the starting of that particular block, index will point to the individual element in that, but then scaling is required, right? Now in high level language, we generally define the array with some data type. Now what that data type is? So data type, say if you write char, so in that case what is happening? Only 1 byte for each element is allocated. 1 byte, because character is only 1 byte. So ultimately, whatever the index value that you are incrementing, right? If you're writing 0, then it is accessing first byte. If you're writing 1, then it is accessing immediately next byte, second byte, right? If you write 2, then it is accessing the third byte. If you write the 3, then it is accessing the next fourth byte. All right. So this is how your index is incremented. Whenever it increments, it is accessing the next. So ultimately, depending on the size of each element, your index value is to be scaled. And in high level language, it is automatically done. But when it comes to the assembly code, right, depending on the array size, depending on the array size, if you are if you want to access the next element, you have to use the scale factor, right? So this scaling factor is to be used along with the array. So now if your array is of word size, that means each element occupies 2 bytes in the memory. It occupies 2 bytes. Now if I keep index as 0, that means it is accessing the first byte, right? Or I will say that it is accessing the first element. But now if I increment that index register by 1, right? Initially index was 0. If I increment it by, it will become 1. But if I don't have any scaling factor, then ultimately it will be treated as a 1 only. So ultimately it will be accessing the byte or second byte of your array and not the second element of that. So in that case, this index field is to be scaled by the size of your array element. So in that case, it will be 2, right? It will be 2. Now, how it will work? Initially, as I told you, index is 0. It will be scaled by 2. So 2 into 0 will give you 0. So it is pointing to the first element. Now, if I increment index by 1, it will become 1. And my scaling factor is 2. So 2 into 1 is 2. So ultimately, my index will point to the third byte of my array, right? 0, 1, and then 2. Right. Then next, if I increment index, it will become 1 to 2, right? And then is my scaling factor is 2. So 2 into 2 is 4. So ultimately, it will be accessing the third element, right? Then like that, we can increment. So depending on the element size, this scaling factor is decided, right? And as a summary of these components which are there in the effective address, here the effective address calculation is given, and this effective address is calculated like this, which is EA is equals to, that is effective address is equals to base register plus in bracket index register into scaling, right? So whatever the scaling factor is there, that will be scale multiplied to the index register only, right? So base register plus index register into scaling plus displacement. So total how many components are there in the effective address? So those are basically base register plus in bracket index register plus into scaling plus displacement. 4 components are there, right? Now, whenever we are basically writing or using any of the component, right? So there is a flexibility. So here we are going to derive the 4 different total 9 different addressing mode based on the combination of all these 4 components. So the first addressing mode after this that we will elaborate. Now here this is one diagram that I will talk about, right? The calculation of effective address. So in the graphical format, I will show you here. Right now, this is the graphical format. How the linear address is calculated here. Now, as I told you, segment register and the will be used to point to the starting address of the segment, right? So here you can see the dotted line indicates here the base of your segment. So this is a segment selected, and effective address that is to be calculated here, right? So this effective address is calculated based on these components. So whatever the formula that I told you, it is base register. So here the adder block is there, so plus index register into the scaling factor. Index register into the scaling factor will be the second input here, and displacement, which is there in the instruction, right? So that way, so these 3 parts will be added to generate this effective address. So availability of every individual component will decide the addressing mode. And this effective address and the base address of my segment will be added here by your memory management unit to generate this linear address. to generate this linear address, and this linear address will be used to access the individual location. All right. So here in this diagram, you can easily understand that how effective address is calculated, right? With the base raster, index raster, and this displacement and scaling factor. All right. Now let's talk about the first addressing mode, the interesting one, direct addressing mode. Right. Now, as I told you, this particular whatever the next addressing mode that we are talking about, those are associated to accessing the external memory. Right. Those are accessing to the external memory. Now, how we are representing the address of external location, right? Based on that, we are going to decide what addressing mode is this. Now, in direct addressing mode, we can use 8, 16, or 32-bit data, right? Whatever the data that we want to use for execution of the instruction, it is accessed directly by the instruction. Directly means what? Whatever the address or the displacement that is only mentioned here. So what we are doing, we are only writing the displacement here, right? So that's why we call it as a direct addressing mode. We are not using any indirect way, right? So here the memory location is given directly along with the instruction. So that's why we call it as a direct addressing mode. So as I told you, the segment registers are there, 6 segment registers. Any of these segment register will be involved in this. Here in this diagram, you can see 6 segment registers are there, and depending on the instruction, it decides which segment register is involved in this address translation. Right. So that way, that will be the compulsory part whenever we access any memory. So see, this segment selector will be always there. Now next part is very important, right? What we are exactly adding, right? In this earlier diagram, right here, I told you that to generate this linear address, what exactly we are adding in as the effective address, we'll decide the addressing, right? So here we are directly writing the address in the instruction itself. So that's why we call it as a direct addressing mode. So in the bracket, right, the square bracket here in the assembly code indicates it is a pointer. It is not a value. It indicates what? It is a pointer. So square value, square bracket, you make note of it. In assembly code, square brackets, whenever we are using along with the number, right, it is basically used as a pointer. So that is something, special thing that I am highlighting, right? Earlier thing, when we discussed about the immediate addressing mode, what is the difference between immediate addressing mode and this direct addressing mode? Immediate addressing mode, the instruction was consisting of data itself. Here it is not consisting of data, it consists of the address. Getting this? So that's why this 5000H is not the data, it is the address. And that address will point to the location, and from that location we get the data. Getting this point? Now, how will you explain move AX comma in bracket 5000? Many students are confused with this explanation. So if I ask someone, right, how will you explain this instruction? So can anyone answer? Like, how will you explain move AX comma in bracket 5000H? How will you explain? Anyone, please? How will you explain? Move AX comma in bracket 5000H. You can try it, right? You have to try it.
Sir, value from 5000H we will move into AX.
Very correct, right? Value stored at address 5000 will be moved into AX register. Now, the very interesting point here, I will highlight how much data it will move. How much data it will move. Now, in memory, as I told you, that it is a byte addressable memory. So for every location, we can store 1 byte. But if you see this particular instruction, my destination register is AX, and AX is a 16-bit register. So that's why for this particular instruction, 16-bit data will be moved into AX. So from the address 5000H, 16-bit value will be moved into AX register. Now, if I simply modify this instruction and if I write move AL comma in bracket 5000H. So in this case, what I modified my destination register size, which is AL. So ultimately AL is of 8 bit. So in that case, only 1 byte will be transferred in that case. So depending on this register combination, right? So we need to always consider the operand that we want to access and what register we are using, right? So if we are mismatching the operand size and the register, then definitely your results will be wrong. All right. Then register indirect addressing mode. Very interesting one. See, here in this case, the base register will contain the address of operand, right? So the register, one register will be used as a pointer. So here you can see all 8 registers: EAX, EBX, ECX, EDX, ESI, EDI, ESP, and EBP. These all 8 registers are used as a pointer. So in direct addressing mode was happening, we were putting that address in the bracket itself. But here in this case, register indirect addressing mode, we are using any of the general purpose register, and in that register the address is stored. So now here in our example, ECX is a register used as a indirect pointer. Right? ECX is a register which is used as an indirect pointer. Now it is a move in bracket ECX comma EDX. Now can anyone explain what is going to happen with this particular instruction? Please. Move in bracket ECX comma EDX. Out of this, we need to identify which is source and which is destination. So as we discussed earlier, first operand is a destination and second operand will be the source. Right. So who can explain this? We have a few minutes to go. Okay, I will tell, no issues, because I need to cover this. See, EDX contains will be moved to the memory location pointed by ECX register. Right? If I remove the bracket in that instruction, if I write only move ECX comma EDX, in that case, content of EDX is moved into ECX register. Right? But as I have these brackets, it indicates that I am moving the EDX value to the memory location pointed by ECX. Right? So this is how we need to, everyone should be able to explain it. Right? Then the next one is a base addressing mode. Very interesting one. Here in this case, the base register contents are added to the displacement to form the operand offset. So here the base register is used. Right? So EAX plus some value, so that is a displacement. So again the base registers are there, so ultimately you can see the base registers will be there, but only thing is this displacement is added, right? So ultimately the effective address will be calculated by using your base register value and the displacement value. All right, so ultimately the effective address is EAX plus 24, and the value from that memory location will be moved into ECX register. So this is how it works, right? So only the base component is there and the displacement component is there, right? Then index addressing mode. This index registers are basically the contains in which, right, only the index registers are used, right? Here in this case you can see the index register contents is added to a displacement to form the operand offset. For example, here you can see add EAX comma table is there, in bracket ESI is there. Now what this ESI is? ESI is used as an index register within that table, right? ESI is used as an index within that table, right? So here ultimately this register is pointing to the element within the table. right? So as it is used as an index in that table, so it is called as index addressing. So here in this case, only the base value will be there in the table, right? The base of that particular table, and ESI will be the index within that table, right? So the data which we are accessing will be from the location within the table at index ESI, right? So ultimately the memory location, memory value or the content of the location from this table at index ESI will be added in EAX. All right. So this is how the index addressing mode happens, right? Then there is a scaled index addressing mode. Now, what is the scaled index addressing mode? So here the index is scaled, index register is scaled. Now scaling happens with the multiplication operation, right? So here asterisk indicates that we are multiplying or scaling by our index register, right? So ultimately, register contents is multiplied by the scaling factor. So index register contents are multiplied by the scaling factor and is added to a displacement to form the operand offset, right? So effective address is a combination of what? Index plus scaling plus displacement. All right. So that's why you can see the index register into scaling factor, right? Now in this there is a typographical error. Scaling factor is 1, 2, 4, and 8, right? So here that scaling factor you need to change. I will give the updated diagram over here, right? This is how the scale index addressing mode. Now whenever we call as a scale, remember that it is the index register which is getting multiplication factor and not the base. So here in this case it is only the index register which is used, right? Now the third next addressing mode is base index addressing mode. Now here which two components are there? Base component is there and the index component is there, right? To calculate the effective address. So those two registers are there, base register and the index register. So as per the list, we have all 8 general purpose register as a base we can use, and as a index register we can use any of the 7 index registers except ESP, right? So that is shown here in this diagram, right? Now many times there is a confusion, right? How I should treat EAX as a base and this EAX as a index, right? So there is always confusion. So but whenever you are pointing to the any of the memory block, right? So any register that is pointing to the particular table, right? If you have a data structure in the table form, then if your one register is pointing to the starting of that particular table and other register is pointing within the element of that particular table, in that case the register which points to the starting address is called as base register, and the register which is pointing within the table will be called as a index. So this is how we can visualize which register is base and which register is a index. All right. Now the next one is base scaled index addressing mode. So what is this? Base scaled index addressing mode. So we have a base register plus index register is scaled. So here you can easily identify with this particular example and the diagram. Here this scaling factor is there for EDX. So ultimately this is the index register and the base register is EAX. All right. So this is the example where you can see the index register EDX is multiplied by 8 and then which is added with the content of EX to form the effective address, right? And from that location the value is moved into ECX, right? And the last addressing mode is base index addressing mode. No, it is second last, right? Base index addressing mode with displacement. So what all components are there? 3 components. What is that? Base is there, index is there, and the displacement is there. So in the diagram you can see base is here, index is here, and the offset or displacement is here, right? So this immediate number will be the displacement. So ultimately all these 3 components will be added to form the effective address, and that effective address will be used along with the segment registers to point to the particular memory location. All right. Then the last one is based scaled index addressing mode. So based scaled index as a this way we can write based scaled index addressing mode with displacement. So all 4 components are there. What all those? base register is here, index register is there, which is scaled by the scaling factor 1, 2, 4, and 8, right? And the displacement is there, right? So here you can easily see the displacement is in the form. Here you can see the base register is there, EBP, displacement is here, and then index register is also scaled. So EDI is scaled by 4. So ultimately here, all 4 components are involved in generating the effective address. So this is how the addressing modes are basically used to access the memory locations. Now, while using the addressing modes, there will be always confusion, right? Why those confusion? Because ultimately effective address will be some value, right? It will be some 32-bit value that will be generated. So depending on the programmer, we can generate that 32-bit value depending on the programmer. So it will not be always like everyone will be using the same addressing mode. So every individual programmer can decide which addressing mode is to be used. But how to decide it? So that decision will be totally depends on what type of data structure is defined, right, in your program, right? Whether it is a simple array or it is a single element which is defined, whether it is in the form of tables. So then, depending on the type of data structure, you can decide what addressing mode is to be used, right? So ultimately, it is going to generate the 32-bit effective address. There is no doubt in that. So 32-bit value will be represented in the direct addressing mode as well, right? You can write that 32-bit value in the bracket. No need to go for base and index and scaling and all, right? So but it is only possible if only one element is there. But if you are trying to access an array, then it is preferred to use the index addressing, because index will be pointing to the every individual element, right, within that array. Now, if array size is of 2 byte, right, each element is of 2 byte, right, in that case, scaling factor will also involve in that. So depending on the requirement, you can select, right? So while programming, we will again elaborate more on selecting the addressing modes. So at this point, I think this is the time where I need to conclude. So any doubt about it? Addressing modes. This is the last one. And as per the contents, I think data types is left. So we will cover it in coming sessions, next sessions. So any doubt here?